Hi and welcome, I'm Melanie. So one question I get asked a lot is, do you think I'm a twin flame or am I just imagining it? And first of all, I want to make it clear that no one can tell you if you are a twin flame and on this journey or not, as another person cannot truly know. And so it is not for anyone else to tell you either way. However, there are some good indications to help you to know whether or not you are a twin flame and are on this journey. And so today I wanted to talk about what those are. And although there are a lot of potential signs that you are on this journey, for me, I believe there are three good ones. So the first one is a two-part one, as there are two kind of connecting aspects. And that is not really knowing whether you are in a relationship or having a romance, or whether it is a friendship that is happening with your divine masculine, or none of the above. And this uncertainty you can have before separation and your awakening, but not always, but will almost definitely have afterwards because of separation and the dynamics of separation and all that brings. So what I mean by not really knowing is there can be a lot of ambiguity from your divine masculine and within the connection about what it is you have between you. It can seem like a relationship or romance or friendship even, but there can be a lot of uncertainty. Although you will feel this intense love and attraction, which is what causes the mind to believe it is a relationship of some kind. Because remember, the mind has to label, and so it will try and find the nearest label to attach to the connection. You will be unsure about what this connection really is. And so you may have quite possibly been confused along with uncertain. Because for many divine feminine, due to the dynamics of the connection, there is no real start or finish like with a normal relationship where there is an attraction and then one or the other asks the other out. You may go out for a few dates and then it may progress from there into something more serious and evolves into something more. Or it could have been where you were in a situation where it was a bit more casual, where you were friends and it developed into something more. But, there was normally some kind of progression, even if it fizzles out and you both go your separate ways. The connection with your divine masculine is different because, of course, it is a spiritual connection and because of separation, with many divine masculines running and returning many times. And so there is this strange dynamic that is playing out of this back and forth with them. And instead of you getting fed up and moving on, you will have this intense pull towards them, which doesn't fade because of the energetic connection. Now, of course, not all divine masculines repeatedly run and return. So if your divine masculine ran but didn't return, it doesn't mean you are not a twin flame. It may have been that they just left or started to act very strangely and then left, and you couldn't understand why because nothing really happened to cause them to behave like that and just leave. But you may still have this strong pull towards them, maybe even years later, and it hasn't faded. And this may be completely out of character for you. And there may be some of you who may have had this unusual deep connection with a friend and then things started to change. And they maybe started to become distant with no apparent reason. Or the same could happen through work where you had a deep connection with someone where it never became a relationship or maybe never even developed into a friendship as such. But there was this deep connection which you couldn't explain. And then you noticed a difference in their behaviour. And although for many twins, from meeting your divine masculine to separation can happen fairly quickly within a few months, for some there can be a much longer period, maybe years, where some twins have had a long-term relationship or got married to each other without knowing about the connection, just because of the way in which your soul has planned your life experiences and awakening. Because of course it is only once the soul recognizes itself in the other body that it causes the heart activation to happen and then separation to occur. And until that point, you may have known each other, but without the heart activation and separation occurring. However, with all of these scenarios, what they all have in common will be all of a sudden on a physical level, something happens at some point, which of course causes your divine masculine to run and separation to occur. Because if you are on this journey, separation has to happen, as this is part of the journey. Because once the soul recognizes itself in the other body, and then you get the heart activation, this of course causes the energy to repel because it is too unstable. All twins go into separation due to both being in their wounded aspect and coming from a place of fear when they meet, where they haven't yet released themselves from the fear and fear-based emotions that come from traumas and core wounds. Because this is a spiritual connection and journey. And so if you are on this journey, separation will happen at some point, which leads me to the next one I want to talk about, which is, if you are on this journey, you will have had a deeply profound awakening, because this is what this connection is about. None of this has happened by chance or is happening by coincidence. Meeting your divine masculine and going into separation was always going to happen, because your soul has incarnated on this earth at this time in two separate bodies to spiritually awaken and ascend. And so this will mean, because of separation, you will experience a deeply profound awakening where you will have gone through dark night of the soul, maybe more than once, and a Kundalini awakening. And both a Kundalini awakening and a dark night of the soul can range from being extremely difficult for some, and for others can be less difficult, where for some they're not even aware of the Kundalini awakening happening, for instance. It just depends. But of course, meeting your divine masculine is about you embarking on a journey of self-discovery and self-mastery. So you become aware of who you truly are, and your soul can be free from the baggage it has been carrying around from all lifetimes, discovering that it's by focusing your awareness inwardly instead of outwardly that is going to bring you all that you felt was missing. And this leads me to the last one, and the only one that can really bring any sense of certainty. And this is the one that many or most divine feminine can find challenging, because this one involves trust. Because this last sign I want to talk about is that feeling of deep inner knowing that all divine feminine that are on this journey have. It won't feel just like wishful thinking. You will just know deep down that this is your divine masculine and you are on this journey. Although you may have massive doubt, there will still be an unshakable belief of who this person is and that you are on this journey. And it won't fade or go away, even though you will fluctuate between doubt and certainty. And actually, you know, it's that very fluctuating that is a sign in itself, because it is indicating to you that you can't shake off this feeling of deep inner knowing and certainty, even though doubt will keep rearing its head. And that you wouldn't keep coming back to that feeling within, that feeling that you can't put into words or make sense of. Because it is only the mind that wants a definite answer, a yes or no, am I or aren't I? Which is why many divine feminine find this particular sign difficult and challenging. Because the mind wants to know one way or another. But of course, the very reason there is no definite answer, but to trust that inner knowing, is what this journey and connection is all about, and teaching and encouraging you to do, to go within, connect with your soul and cultivate trust. Because your soul knows, which is where this feeling of certainty comes from. And so, you know, if you have been struggling with doubt and uncertainty, I hope this video has helped in some way to give you some clarity. Always remember, take what resonates, because as I said, you hold the answer within you and are always going to be the only one that will truly know the answer to this question. Anyway, that's all for me today. Thank you as always so much for watching, subscribing, liking and commenting. And if you would like some more help and support, please reach out and contact me via my website to book either a free discovery call that I'm offering at the moment or a one-to-one session. The link for my website is below. Sending you all so much love. Bye for now. Blessed be.